And then I'm like mapping it out. Oh, I could put the dramatic play over here and I could do a second classroom over here. And I would like get so excited. So important you don't do that process before you first go to planning and zoning. Cherise, thanks so much for your question about how do you start a preschool in a commercial location? I love this question. Start a preschool in a commercial location? I love this question because I've had experience starting my preschool in my home, but I've also started a preschool in a commercial location as well. So I've got the knowledge of both. Yes, you can 100% start your preschool in your home, and there's videos upon videos here in the feed about that. But let's describe how to actually start your preschool in a commercial location instead. Why would you choose a commercial location, right? Well, maybe you can't do it in your home for whatever reason, or maybe you just want to start in the commercial place just because you feel more comfortable there, or that's what everybody else does, or whatever. You raised your kids at home, but then they need to transition to kindergarten, right? Well, that's why a home preschool is literally the bridge between the home and the school. And parents love the warm, the inviting atmosphere, just the home-like feel, because it is a home, right? So parents love this. Now, if you still want to do a commercial location though, here are some great tips for you on how to do that. The very first step is you want to go into your planning and zoning department for your city. Now, why wouldn't you just start driving around your city looking for a bunch of places that say for lease or things like that? Because there's a lot of requirements that have to do when you have children in the space. If you were starting a consignment store or something like that, you could drive around your city and find a bunch of for lease areas, and you could probably choose any of them to start your consignment store in there, no issue. But when you put children in a space, there's a lot of rules and laws and requirements and things like that regarding children in certain areas around other businesses. For instance, did you know that you can't be X amount of feet away from a place serving alcohol? I did not know that. So when we were looking for a preschool location for our second preschool, because of course we started in our home with just 24 students, but we grew, and that is when we needed to find a bigger location for us, right? Our forever home. And so we were driving around, we'd find a place, and then we'd call the landlord, we'd say, perfect, is this will this work out? Sure, it'll work out. And they don't know any different. And then you go to planning and zoning because that's the next step for you. And when you're there, they say, no way that won't work out for kids because you have a bar like X amount of feet way down there and they serve alcohol. So that's not gonna work out. Okay, do you see the problem there? And so the planning and zoning department is the place to go. But when you go there, you have to go with like the most happy, the most friendly, like these guys are gonna be your people that say yes or no and can either halt you in your tracks or keep you moving along. So you have to be super positive with them, right? So when you go in there, this is the very first thing you're gonna say to them. Hey, I'm so-and-so, and I'm starting a preschool. Now, I'm looking for a location to put it in, but it is not a daycare. Let me explain how it's a little bit different. We don't take care of babies. We don't have them during nap time. We don't have them for 12 hours of the day. It's literally just where I'm teaching a preschool class for ages 3 to 5 for 2.5 hours, and then they go home. So it is not a daycare, but I'm looking for a location in our city that I can put my preschool in. Do you know of any place that would be a good place for that? That's your question. That is how you lead into this conversation. Very friendly, very positive, and just putting it all right there. Now they're gonna say, whoa, I've never heard of that concept, but that sounds amazing, right? Because again, they're used to having people come in so many times. Hey, I'd like to start a daycare. Where can I put a daycare? All these things. So they're gonna immediately think daycare, and that's why you have to separate the notion between it's not daycare, it's just preschool, okay? But this is the other really cool part about going to planning and zoning first. When you go there, they're gonna know all eyes already. They already know their town inside and out. They know the rules about like, okay, well yeah, this place that Joe used to own, well I know that place is for lease, but it's next to this restaurant that serves alcohol or whatever, okay? They know these things already. And they have the tools and the resources to map it out, like how many feet away is that from door to door, etc. Like I've seen them do this when I go in there. Hey, let's take a quick second here. I wanted to ask you, How are you doing? I mean, it's exciting to start a preschool, but are you feeling kind of alone? Is there anyone that you have to talk to about these exciting ideas or even some of your fears or some of your questions, right? Do you have a notebook full of questions? I bet you do. How would you love to be surrounded by myself and hundreds of successful preschool owners on the same journey as you're on, starting, running, and growing your preschool? I'd like to invite you to our Preschool All-Stars. It's an exclusive membership community where that's honestly the only place that I hang out online. And we're there to support you, cheerlead you on, and answer all of your questions. Truly, you will never be alone inside of Preschool All-Stars. You'll also have access to our exclusive, extensive library of done-for-you files, step-by-step video trainings, and all of my systems. I can't wait for you to jump in. Just click the link in the description or go to preschoolallstars.com, and I can't wait for you to join us so that you'll never feel alone again. Do you know when I tried to find my location, I probably went through 5 different locations, and I mean like through them like for weeks and months sometimes before I ever even talked to planning and zoning and got shut down immediately. So it's so important you don't do that process before you first go to planning and zoning. They're gonna be like your person in the back pocket, just able to help you. When I was looking at different places, I was like, oh, perfect, there's a commercial location, it's for lease. How much is your place? And oh, perfect, it's the right budget. And I was starting to do all that. Oh, and I was like, hey, can I have a tour? Sure. So we go do a tour, and then I'm like mapping it out, and I'm like doing all the square footage, and oh, I could put the dramatic play over here, and I could do a second classroom over here, and I would like get so excited about this place. Before I would even go talk to planning and zoning, they would immediately say no because of this, okay? So don't waste time doing that. That's your #1 time killer. So you're first gonna ask them, do you know of any places that would be a great fit for me? Now, I have another clue for you. Ready? The place that's probably perfect for you is actually probably a previous daycare. I know, it's weird, but not because you're starting a daycare, but because the place that used to be a daycare already got approved by planning and zoning, because wherever it's located, it was far enough away from a restaurant, or if it was in existence, a restaurant couldn't be around it, so a restaurant didn't come in and get super close to it and have issues with that alcohol rule. Also, it's already been approved by the city to be the use of a daycare. Okay, that's also huge. You might hear this thing called a special use permit in your conversations about commercial preschools. And with special use permits, that's basically saying that whatever it used to be, we're gonna say, that's fine, it doesn't need to be a consignment store anymore. We're giving it a special use that it can be a daycare or a preschool or whatever. But the city actually has to vote on that, okay? And so my clue for you is that you don't want to go through that process if you don't have to. If you can find a place that previously was a daycare, it will probably be perfect for your preschool. Do you see what I'm going here? Oh my gosh, like this is the thing. When I finally went after getting all those places shut down, and I was like so frustrated because I didn't go through this. Nobody was telling me to first just start at planning and zoning, step 1. I just kept, oh, well, if that doesn't work out, I'll go find another place. And I kept doing this process of finding it. How much is it? Oh, it's financially affordable. Awesome. Let me go take a tour. Let me sketch it out. And I go through that whole thing, and every single time I get shut down by planning and zoning. Finally, after like so many just frustrated attempts, like I was literally at my wit's end, and we had already signed up 96 students, guys. I had 48 at the time in my garage, not all at once. You know that. It's 4 classes of 12 students. But I had already enrolled another set of 48 students, and I was ready to start preschool, but I didn't have a place. I was pulling on my hair like, what do I do? And it was at that time when I actually had, because I didn't have a place yet, I had to start preschool in my home for the 2nd class. So I was doing a preschool class in my home at the same time I was doing a preschool class, in my garage is the same time I was doing and in my home. So in my living room, my kitchen, my garage, my separate play area, that was one preschool class going on with one teacher with 12 students. And in my garage, my converted garage, I had another set of students of 12 students with one teacher. It was totally licensed and legal and everything was fine, but I was losing my house. There's so many kids everywhere, right? So I was ready for a new place, and finally, after so many attempts to just shut me down, I went to planning and zoning and I said, fine, then where do you want me to go? And I finally asked the question that I should have asked in the very, very beginning, and they said, oh. And they all came around there talking to me, and they said, you know what? Have you thought about that place on the corner? And I was like, oh, no. no, like we thought about, but it's like dilapidated. And that's another story for another day, guys, but that's a good one. But they're like, well, it was previously daycare. It is zoned correctly. And you literally, all you have to do is just have it be leased to you and you're in. Like, there's no other requirements. You just have to get a business license, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're in, you're done. And I'm like, what? That's it? That's amazing, right? And I was like, but it's not even for lease. Like, there's no signs, there's nothing there. It's just an abandoned place. I'm like, I don't even know who lives there. And they're like, well, nobody lives there because it's a business. But they knew the guy and they called him, hey, do you want to rent this place? Sure, he says. This is how we got our amazing schoolhouse, okay? So if you're thinking about starting a preschool in a commercial location, here's my question for you that I want you to post in the comments, right? What place have you seen around town that you think would just be perfect for your preschool? I want you to describe it down below because I want to know all about your perfect preschool envision. I've actually got one of my preschool owners who just found a place. It's out kind of more rural, it's more in the country, and it's got this amazing driveway around the preschool, this like half circular driveway, guys, and she's like so ecstatic about it. Her name's Becky, and you'll probably know a lot about her as you get into our preschool all-stars group, but she's just so in love with this place. So post in the comments if you guys have a place that you are super excited about for your preschool, your future commercial preschool as well. I'd love to find out. If this was helpful for you, please subscribe and share and like, because I would love to get these videos more into your eyes so that you can keep dreaming and actually starting your preschool. Stop dreaming, guys. It's time to start your preschool. Thanks so much, and we'll see you on the next video.